And I'm Megan Fee. Great to have you here with us just after 11 on your Monday right now.
Well, News 2 is your local election headquarters. Former President and Republican frontrunner Donald Trump is in the Lowcountry today. He's set to hold a rally at Sportsman Boats in Summerville and is set to speak at 3 p.m.
Hannah, that's right. We are a little over an hour away from former President Trump arriving in the Lowcountry, and we are bringing you team coverage all day long. News 2's Raven Owens and Jordan Sayopa are live in Dorchester County, where former President Trump is set to be later today. But first, News 2's Riley Benson joins us live from Charleston International Airport, where we're expecting the former president to arrive shortly. Riley will be traveling with President Trump today as he makes his rounds in the Lowcountry. What can you tell us?
Yeah, good morning, Hannah and Megan. Of course, we are just a little over an hour away from former President Donald Trump arriving here in the Lowcountry. Once he's here and situated, we'll make a number of stops across the area, including at his campaign headquarters, before making our way to Summerville. Of course, that's where today's event will be held later this afternoon. Now, News 2 is the only local TV station to be riding in the former president's motorcade today across the Lowcountry as we make our stops at those events. We're expecting to leave the airport in the former president's motorcade just before 1 o'clock this afternoon and head to the campaign headquarters, where the president is expected to tour that location. We'll then make one more stop before arriving at today's event location in Summerville. This is President Trump's first visit to South Carolina since he held a rally in the upstate in early July that drew roughly 50,000 people to see him speak. Now, Trump has long been the frontrunner in polls for the 2024 primary among Republican candidates, both nationally and here in South Carolina, despite two homegrown candidates also vying for the Republican nomination. Taking a look at polling numbers among South Carolina GOP primary voters from this month, the former president has nearly a 30-point lead over the closest candidate, polling at 46% over Nikki Haley's 18%. South Carolina Junior Senator Tim Scott is third among South Carolina voters with 10% of the vote to round out those in double digits. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who polls second in a number of national polls, sits at just 9% in South Carolina. Former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, entrepreneur Vivek Ramaswamy, Trump's former Vice President Mike Pence, and former Arkansas Governor Asa Hutchinson round out polling numbers in South Carolina. Again, we're expecting the former president to land here in Charleston International in about an hour, a little over an hour from now. We'll follow him around the Lowcountry as he makes a number of stops, and of course provide live coverage from the motorcade, both on air and on social media and online. For now, reporting live in North Charleston, Riley Benson. Count on 2.
Thank you, Riley. And you should expect several traffic delays because of Trump's visit to the Lowcountry today. Highway 78 from the Summerville town limits east of Berlin G. Myers Parkway all the way to Jedburgh at Mallard and Jedburgh Road. You will see extended delays. That's from noon until 5 p.m. today. And officials ask that you make an effort to find an alternate route if you live or plan to travel in that area.
All right, a lot of excitement there in Summerville. Of course, Donald Trump hosting his speaking today. He's speaking to a crowd there at Sportsman Boats, and that's where we find News 2's Jordan Sayopa. She is live there with more on the crowd. Looking pretty busy, Jordan. What can you tell us?
Well, Megan, it is a sea of red, white, and blue here. Hundreds of people are already lined up, and they have been for hours. You might be able to tell over my shoulder the crowd is very large here so far. Now, in this crowd, you will find lots of Make America Great Again attire, T-shirts with the former president's mugshot, and flags waving, saying Trump 2024. Trump is set to speak at the sold-out event at 3 p.m. He's expected to be joined by U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham and South Carolina Governor Henry McMaster. This will be former President Trump's second visit to South Carolina in the last 2 months. He served as the keynote speaker for the South Carolina Republican Party's annual Silver Elephant fundraiser last month. I spoke with some supporters earlier today. Here's what they had to say.
He is for us. He's not for only one group. He's not a clique. And I think he's good for us. And because he didn't make it the last time, because of who else is in the office right now, that's why we're in this shape that we're in now.
Now, doors open for the event at 12. Again, he will be giving his remarks at 3 p.m. Reporting live in Summerville, I'm Jordan Sayopa. Count on 2.
Thank you, Jordan. And ahead of Trump's visit, the South Carolina Democratic Party held a call blasting his record on abortion, which enabled the 6-week abortion ban recently upheld by the South Carolina Supreme Court. South Carolina Democratic Party Chairwoman Crystal Spain detailed how Trump's appointment of 3 Supreme Court justices who voted to overturn Roe v. Wade led to many conservative states, including South Carolina, implementing near-total bans on abortion. She said if given another chance in the White House, Trump and his supporters would continue implementing such laws.
Let's be clear. If Donald Trump gets back in the White House, he's going to do everything in his power to ban abortion nationwide. Just look at who stands with him in South Carolina. Governor Henry McMaster, who led the push to ensure MAGA Republicans in the legislature passed our state's 6-week ban, and Senator Lindsey Graham, who is leading the way in the U.S. Senate to try to pass a national federal abortion ban. As Trump heads to Summerville today, we can't afford to forget who he really is.
Now, Spain was joined by Democratic Texas Congresswoman Veronica Escobar of Texas, another state with some of the country's most strict abortion laws.